Okay, let me take you through how I did the chevron pattern on this page. How I got to this point of having the pattern is I took some strips of 3-inch wide paper, because that's about how wide I wanted to create my strips that I'm going to use. So I took some papers and laid them down and just played with the position of them, taking a look at the ruler where they were going to come out, and I marked with a pencil, and then I cut one of the designs out and to see if that worked in terms of size, and found that it did, and then I just cut 3 more of them. So my chevron has 4 sections to it. You could do more sections, you could do them narrower, whatever look you were going for. When you're getting ready to cut your papers, I went ahead and marked my templates with lines, 1/2 inch, 3/4, 3/8, and so forth. If you do that so that your pieces of paper will line up in the chevron, you have to remember that this side is a mirror image of this side, so you're going to need 2 templates. You can keep repeating them as you go across the page, but you'll need 2 so that your papers line up, or otherwise you'll end up with a very strange chevron. Trust me. So you'll need 2 different templates, and then you can just repeat those as many times as you want. And I'm not going to try to cut my paper strips to be these exact dimensions with this kind of, I think it's called a parallelogram shape. What I'm going to do is what you would do in quilting. I'm going to cut these in long strips, and I'm going to glue them on a backing. In quilting, we would do this with like an interfacing fabric or a light fabric. I'm going to do the same thing in paper crafting. I'm going to use a piece of thin paper, in this case some old designer paper that I didn't think was very attractive, or not something that I was ever going to use. I've got several sheets of this that I bought a long time ago, and I don't really have a use for it. So I took it and cut it in 3-inch long strips, and I'm going to work on the back side of it so the pattern won't kind of interfere with my eye in terms of placement. I'll take this strip, and this will be enough to cut 2, let's work over here where it's flat. Sorry, I'm having to hold my camera to show you this. Where I have it placed in the room, I don't have a good place to set up the camera. Right, I'm going to take this 12-inch by 3-inch strip, and I'm going to cut it in 2 sections that will be long enough to create some paper strips and not waste a lot of paper. So let me do that, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how I'm piecing everything together. Okay, I'm ready to glue some of these in place. And what I did, let me slide them aside. You can see I took my template and I marked lines on the back side of that designer paper that I wanted to use. And I'm just going to take my tape runner adhesive and run some straight lines down, and then I'll place each of the papers in the order that I decided the measurements, 1/2 inch, 3/4, 3/8, and so forth. You can make this a little easier on yourself if you keep it balanced, if you do a 1/2 inch at the top, 1/2 inch at the bottom, and so forth, instead of having to keep track of what goes where. But that's sort of how I got started, so I decided to continue with my little more random measurements. Okay, I've just glued everything down, and I'm going to do some stitching. I was very pleased with how well these lined up. I wasn't super picky about my cutting, but I tried to be fairly accurate, and I was real happy with how it came out. There are some edges that aren't completely adhered, but as I say, I am planning to do some top stitching over with my machine, so that will help that problem, and of course I can always add a little adhesive. And here's the finished product.